Hey there. I hope you guys are doing well. My name is Keval Shah. I am the sales engineer at Zscaler. Today, in this session, we're going to talk about how we can integrate Zscaler Private Access with identity providers. So when you go to the Zscaler Private Access dashboard, under authentication, there's an option called user authentication. You click on the IDP configuration, and it literally lands you on to this page. Over here, we're going to click on IDP configuration. Keep in mind with the private access, you need to have a SAML platform to integrate with. There is no hosted database like ZIA, and more importantly, SAML is the only SAML or SCIM is the only way to set this up. Okay, so we're gonna set this up Azure AD with sys.site. I'm just gonna call it out so I remember how and what is this affiliated with, and then we're gonna use a certificate which we see. But more importantly, like we did before, we have to pick the right domain that we are configuring this for. And I'm going to walk through the steps. As you can see, the next step is the service provider metadata. So service provider metadata is provided by Zscaler because we are the service provider, and we will upload this metadata onto the identity provider, which is Azure AD or Entra ID. So when I click on Entra ID here, obviously we see a lot of options. We saw it in our previous window. Let's take a look into private access. We have one private access solution here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clean this up. I'm gonna quickly delete this one and reestablish a new one so that we don't run into any issues. Okay, so there you go. So now we don't have any private access solution. We're gonna go into the enterprise application store, type in Zscaler, select private access from here. We'll add that application and associate that with our Entra ID as a service provider. Once we get this taken care of, we will upload the metadata that we received from the service provider, which is Zscaler, into the identity provider, which is Entra ID. Okay, it's the binding that matters to make sure that as and when the users migrate or move, we wanna establish policies which are tied to the user identity, that like username, department, group, and so on. So I'm gonna go in here and select the user one at site, that user to our Zscaler platform. We'll turn on the SAML. And here we'll upload the metadata file, which we just downloaded a few seconds ago. So downloads, we did this, when was this done? 8:46 p.m. That sounds about right. We'll go ahead and do that. There you go. The identity provider setup for ZPA is a lot easier than ZIA. And you will see the difference why. But as you can see, I can upload the metadata here. And what I'm going to do this time from the identity provider setup, we're going to download the federation metadata XML instead of the certificate, right? When I do that, I'm going to import that IDP metadata file instead of the certificate because that becomes more convenient. I'm going to do this again, IDP metadata. 848, 848, 846. Okay, this is the one. We'll upload that. Go further down. Make sure everything looks good. We'll keep our status enabled. We'll keep our SAML request enabled. And we are setting this up for the users at the moment. So when the users log in, how do we identify whether they're entitled to Zscaler or not? And for now, we will just go ahead and save this. Within the ZPA platform, as soon as you do any changes, there is no activation step because we expect this to be in effect right away. It's your intranet, it's your own resources and access to your own applications. Okay, so that completes the SAML authentication within the ZPA platform. If you ever want to get back and do this SCIM configuration, you go back into the edit, turn on the SCIM, you turn on the SCIM enablement, generate the bearer token, copy this URL, go back to the Microsoft Azure or Entra ID, click on provisioning, and follow the steps that we did earlier, which includes generating the Entra. And I apologize for the background noise. Now we go back here. We will save the bearer token, so at least it's activated. We'll upload that bearer token here, and then we'll test the connection. This test, as you can see, it was successful, and there you go. The scheme configuration is complete. Thank you very much. I hope this session was helpful.